Good day, afternoon, or evening, dear listeners. Welcome to another scintillating episode of the Fearless Schools podcast, brought to you by the sensational educational think tank known as Creative Leadership Solutions. If you haven't checked out the mighty CLS in a minute, you really should. You should. All right, after this podcast, fire up the old computer, go to www.creativeleadership.net and surf around their site. I guarantee that you're going to find something that's going to raise one or even both eyebrows. It's true. So speaking of eye-opening things, boy howdy, do we have a podcast for you today. And before we get to our special guest, someone who's always here and is always special to the Fearless Schools podcast, guess who it is? It's Director of Professional Learning for CLS. It's Dr. Ann McCarty. How's it going, Dr. Ann?
Drew, it's another one of those times. So I always tell you, I always think we can't get any better. And then Here we go. The man who's watering the plants before school starts.
Oh, there you go.
I can't wait to hear about that story and learn more about none other than tonight's guest.
I don't think I know that one. I can't wait to hear all about it. And I think at this point we're done with all the ballyhoo and the hoo-ha, and it's time to get to it, right? So let's talk about our Fearless Schools guest today. Let me tell you some things about this educational superhero, right? So he's been a teacher and principal since 1987. He received national acclaim as a teacher and chess coach, where his students have gone on to win world recognition as 8-time national chess champions. Currently a K-8 school leader in Wilmington, Delaware, and he speaks to groups around the globe. He was a regular contributor on the Dr. Oz show and is the author of best-selling books such as I Choose to Stay, The Immortality of Influence, and he's the co-author of the newly released Passionate Leadership, Building a Winning Team, and Retention for Change. And he's got a new one out called Meet the Needs. Oh my gosh. In addition to all that, he's addressed over 100,000 teachers, administrators, school staff, board members, parents, students, and community members in the United States, Canada, Nigeria, Trinidad, England, Jamaica, and the Virgin Islands. Oh my gosh, his frequent flyer miles must be awesome. And frequently appears on C-SPAN, CNN, and NPR radio. He studied at Cambridge University in England, Lehigh University in Pennsylvania, and holds a doctorate in education from Wilmington University in Delaware. He has received the Marcus A. Foster Award as the Outstanding School District Administrator in Philadelphia and the University of Pennsylvania's Distinguished Martin Luther King Award. Educational Leadership and Reader's Digest magazines recognize this gentleman as an inspiring American icon. Oh my gosh. He's also appeared on Good Morning America, why not? And the Oprah Radio Network. Oh my gosh, it's the Dr. Salome Thomas-El, aka Principal L. How's everything going, Principal L?
I'm good, Drew. Good to be here. Good to see you guys doing the amazing work that you're doing out there in the Midwest, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to be along for the ride to carry your bags. You and Ann, I'm just happy
to carry our bags.
Yes, sir.
Oh my, wow. Well, with everything that you've done just from that bio alone, I mean, that resume page must be like 11 by 17 poster size or something. Goodness gracious. Well, again, yeah, thank you so much for taking time out for us carrying our bags. Oh my goodness gracious. So, hey, to get us warmed up, we like to do a little warm up here. What's because sustenance and how it sustains you in times of triumph and challenge, right? So what's your go-to food in times of educational challenge or triumph? What do you go to?
Well, I'm a Philly guy, born and bred. So
okay,
I got to go with the old cheesesteak,
Okay.
And I don't do the cheese whiz. And if you ever hear this debate about what kind of cheese, if you're really from Philly, you don't get cheese whiz. You get true cheddar, Swiss or something, provolone. You get some real cheese on your cheese. A cheesesteak, fried onions, a little ketchup,
right?
A little mustard. Yeah, we do it right.
Right. Why do you think people fall for the cheese whiz? What does that say about them? Why?
It's almost the way people fall for the okie doke in school. It's creamy, it has whiz on it, so they think they're gonna be a wizard.
Right.
And but once you get to the bottom of it, it's still all about the people. It's all about the leadership, and it's all about the foundation of what you do. It doesn't matter how it looks.
Right.
The bottom line is, is it real?
There you go.
And if it's real, if it's authentic, then as you know, you could be as fearless as you want to. because
Exactly.
you know you will win the people, and that's what real cheese does on a cheesesteak. It
That's
has
it.
won the people of Philadelphia. Cheese Whiz is popular,
Right.
but it's not always what you don't always need to be the most popular to be the most successful.
Oh my
Sometimes
gosh.
the most creative leaders are the ones who get people to follow them and do the work because they know that you're right in the work with them. That's why I water those plants and flowers, outside the school instead of asking other. Number one, because my staff said we don't have time to do that, Principal. Well, you water the flowers.
Oh
But
my
it's all
gosh.
about doing that. It's all about doing the work
Yes.
that you ask others to do. If they see you doing it, then they know that you're a part of the team.
There you
They know
go.
that you're a blesser and not a stressor. That's my
Oh my
goal every day when I
goodness.
walk. Oh yeah, you'll see, Drew. I like
Bless
to
her.
rhyme as well.
Yes.
When I was young, I wanted to be a rapper, but my students tell me to stick to rapping Christmas gifts. Don't no
Oh.
more.
Oh, they put the bars
oh,
to you. I see that.
oh
I
yeah,
see
they
that.
put yeah they put the whammy on me. They put the
Oh my
whammy
gosh. No, I mean, listen, you talked about it like the cheese whiz is like the cheese Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
you pull back the curtain and you realize that you know what? The Wizard of Oz is just a little sham. So you got to go with the
right.
authentic, real cheese 110%. So a blesser, not a stressor. I want to get right to the water and the plants story a little bit. You got to go there for me, okay? Cuz I'm not that bright and I need the context of that illusion.
So, and I mean, you want to kick it off? Like, I'm sure you saw the post somewhere, right?
I I did, and I'm more of a scroller than anything, but there are some things that just stick out to you. And there's this photo of Principal Al just, and you're like in like this kind of like running through the airport almost stance, like making sure you get every inch. He's got the hose out in front of the school watering the plants,
Nice.
like
Yeah, yeah.
Sunday before
With
school started or something.
with my Jalen Hurts Eagles T-shirt on as well. So yeah, Drew. So I posted a picture of me watering. I was watering the plants. Yeah, for my I have a courtyard in the school, and I put some land. It was just looking so dreary. One day I
Uh-huh.
just had a landscaper come and put some landscape, and I added a bench because we often talk about self care for teachers.
Right.
But I say to myself, how often do I really invest in that, right? In those resources
Mm.
to really help teachers kind of have that peace of mind, even if for 5 minutes. So I put some nice plants and went out there, but then I realized somebody's got to water these plants.
Right.
And do
Right.
I do I ask the very teachers that I want to be able to relax to water these plants? So I'm out there watering the plants, and my science teacher took a picture of me and she sent it to some other staff members and said, "Look, our principal even waters the plants." And so I posted it one day and I just said, listen, this is what true leadership is all about.
Yeah.
It's not about the cheese on top. It's
Nope.
not about the whipped cream. It's not about the accolades.
Right.
It's really about who wants to water the flowers, the plants,
Yeah.
because they need water. And why go and call somebody else to do it? Then as a leader, you can do that and other people will follow. They will go above and beyond if they know that the leader's willing to do something as small, as minor, as water the plants, as sweep up, the
Right.
playground,
Yep.
those types of things. And I didn't realize it would become. I mean, this thing had hundreds and hundreds of comments, thousands of likes,
Wow.
because people really connected with it. Just this whole idea of true,
Hmm.
authentic, fearless, creative, dynamic leadership is
Hmm.
really about leaders willing to get in that foxhole, get a little dirt on themselves, and say to folks, listen, I'm just like you.
Yeah.
I'm no better. And leadership is about service.
Right.
If you don't serve, you can't lead.
There you go.
And I think I added that quote, I think, to the post because that's really what it's all about. It's really about serving. I think that's the true key to teacher retention and
Mm.
recruitment is really understanding that support is all about service to others. And I tell people all the time, if you want to go into leadership, don't go into leadership because you're tired of being a teacher.
Yeah.
Because when you go into leadership, you're now teaching adults, and that's probably the hardest job, in the world.
Yeah. You're not wrong. That's for sure.
No, yes, yes. So that's the story behind the water the plants photo. I just posted it online and tried to make a leadership connection
Yeah.
to it, and folks really they really took to it. And I got some amazing comments and feedback
Yep.
from folks that it's really all about who's willing to water those plants, even like taking care of children, taking care of your staff, whatever it is, even in a relationship,
Yep.
who's willing to water the flowers,
Right.
because those are the people who really want to take care, of their people. You know?
And I think that's what I liked so much about it was not, I mean, you were in a kind of a funny pose too, but
Yeah.
it was the connection that you made, and the servant leadership end
Hmm.
of it, the leadership end of it, the taking care of everybody.
Mhm.
So it was not just the funny picture, but it was the post that went with it as well.
There you
Right.
go. Yeah, that nurturing. I mean, nurturing the plants. I mean, oh my gosh, there's so much there, and your energy is just coming through. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, it's just. And then we just start. How long are we into this podcast? Like a couple of minutes, and I'm already just woo. Listen. So
And it's the end of the school day. It's not like it's early in the morning for us. This
no.
is after
No,
this is
there's
after
no
the day of
off
work.
on the genius Principal L machine. It is at fifth gear all day long. So listen, I want to know where that all came from, right? So who were you as a student? Your origin story, right? You are educational superhero flying around all over the place with your cape on. There's no denying that. What kind of student were you, and what, or perhaps even who? Maybe there's a person that sparked that. Who helps you learn?
Yeah, so I was a young kid growing up in North Philadelphia, right near Temple University,
Okay.
raised by a single mom, raising six boys by herself.
Wow.
I was the next to the youngest kid, raised in the projects in North Philly, the same housing projects as Don Staley, the
Sure.
coach of the University of South Carolina women's championship team, and
Yep.
went to the same elementary school. And then I went on to a magnet school for gifted kids for elementary and middle school. And teachers knew I would struggle. My mom tells a story about how she walked in. My third grade teacher was a young white female, not from our community, but there every day, saving Private Ryan.
Mm.
She said, this is my next to the youngest kid. My oldest children are not graduating from college. One of my children must graduate from college. That teacher had every reason to say, I can't focus on your son, but that's not what good teachers do. She worked with my fourth grade teacher, was an older African American female, been in our school about 30, 40 years. We thought she came with the building. And they helped me to get into this magnet school. I went on to high school, became a high school basketball player. Thought I could skip college. I went to Simon Gratz High School,
Ah,
same high school as Aaron McKee and Rasheed Wallace, all these other NBA players.
sure.
Thought I could skip college. My high school English teacher, Drew Marsha Pincus, great lady, very influential, in my life. I wrote her a letter from college and said, you are one of the main reasons I went to college. She said I was a young white high school teacher, English teacher. Never found my place in high school until I got this letter from this kid who told me I made a difference in his life. She said my career changed from that point. She said I
Wow.
never realized I was really making that impact. And she was one of the many people. And I went on and graduated college.
Yeah.
I graduated with a career in television. She helped me get a career in TV. Her brother was an executive producer for Sports Channel. I started working in TV, went to a high school to speak to some high school kids about my job in TV and talk to them about Marsha Pincus. My mother never owned a car. My teachers, the kids said, well, how'd you get to college? My teachers drove me to school every year and
Wow.
picked me up. And they said, well, how come you aren't a teacher? I quit my job. I quit my TV job and went right back to the same high school and started teaching. I got a master's degree and a certificate, and
Wow.
that was 1987, and I've never looked. I'm year 39,
Wow.
right? I've never looked back, and that's where I got my start. Just that one teacher,
Yeah.
who just said, listen, you changed my life by letting me know I was a good teacher. Now I want to encourage you to become, a teacher. And she's retired now, but she showed up. I was speaking in New Mexico a few years ago. She retired in Mexico, and she showed up and she stood up in the audience, 500 people, and
Oh.
she said, "You all are loving this guy, but guess what? He was late to my class every day." She said, I watch him out the window coming and running to school with a bag of food. She said, but I never marked him late for class
There you go.
because I knew he was coming from a struggling family. He was stopping to get food, and he was my best student in English. He loved Chaucer, loved Shakespeare, loved Richard Wright. She said, I even had a substitute teacher who wrote me a letter when I was out on maternity leave and said I couldn't control the class, and the skinny kid took over the class and taught the lesson. And she said I knew exactly who it was.
Oh
And she
my
said,
gosh.
you actually, in high school, you actually really became a teacher when you did that for that substitute
Wow.
teacher. And I
Wow.
know that was a long story,
No.
probably multiple chapters, but it was really like how I got my start. Just
Yeah.
somebody else believing in me until I believed in myself,
Oh
guys.
my gosh. No, that's not a long story at all. I mean, that's a beautiful story and one that I explain so much about. It takes me back to watering the plants. You know, like
Yeah.
it's your energy to give back that that's part of it, right? Is that somebody
Yes,
gave to
sir.
you and so then you give back I don't know, maybe I'm connecting dots that don't need to be connected, but
No, it's that. I mean, it's true. It's full circle.
right.
It's full circle. That those seeds were planted for me early on.
Right.
Now it took me a little longer to realize it because I had these dreams of being a professional
Sure,
athlete.
sure.
What my teachers told me during high school.
What's
My
that?
high school teaching counselor cornered me, and they said, "Son, we heard you're thinking about skipping college and going to the NBA."
Mm.
I asked them if they knew a good agent. They said no, but we've seen you play basketball. They said, son, you can't jump over a credit card. So you would not go into the NBA.
Oh my
But
goodness.
they said, but you're smart enough to get an MBA. Why don't you go away to
Oh,
college and come back and help the same community that supported you and supported your family? And they were right. And that's why I felt so good being able to come back I started teaching in the same community where I grew up. I became a teacher and principal in the same schools where I attended. It's probably no greater feeling than to be a principal in a school for a teacher for a teacher to say you were my student and now you're my colleague.
yeah.
That's a great feeling.
That's
Now they couldn't believe the school district let me become a principal, like number one, like they really let this kid become a principal. But it's a great feeling for somebody to water those flowers,
yeah.
to plant a tree whose shade you may never enjoy. You
Oh my
know,
goodness gracious.
You
yeah.
know what I love about it too? Like Drew's processing it. He's playing with his hair. Audience can't see that right now.
What hair? What are you talking about?
When something like really profound is happening, Principal, I always say Drew's hair got blown back on that one.
Oh wow.
But what I love about this story is you did as much for her as she did for you,
Wow.
right? You wrote her a letter to say thank you, and it affirmed for her that she was a good teacher, and that changed her trajectory.
Yeah.
So really, two lives were changed through her believing
Yeah.
in
And she
you,
went on, and
right?
she talked about how she went on after that to start a young playwrights program that became a national program for kids in the city, write their own plays, went on Broadway and whatnot. And she said, when you wrote that letter, I'm sure there were a bunch of other things that kind of added to it. My letter was just like one little straw, but she just said it really gave her the confidence to believe that she could teach, anywhere and make an impact on kids who didn't look like her, but who she loved just as much as she loved her own children, at home. So you're right. I never really looked at it that deeply, but I'm gonna take credit for that, Ann. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call Miss Pink or something and say, "Hey, I'm taking responsibility for your career."
Say, listen, you can listen to the Fearless Schools podcast. I laid it all
Yes,
out.
That's it.
yes,
Credit
yes.
that in the next book.
You got it.
Listen,
You got it.
because I mean, it does make you think though about the things that go unsaid.
Yes.
And like you never, if you take that opportunity to thank the person who did whatever it is, did show that attitude of gratitude, as we say at my school, like it can change somebody's life, and it could take you 30 seconds, but it can
Mhm.
make somebody think completely different. And I also want to say, like, clearly Miss Pincus cared about you not only academically, but saw you, like, right, saw you through the window
Yes.
with, where you were. And yes, you were late to school, but she never marked you late. And it makes me think about an expression that I have in my mind. And like, yeah, you can turn a kid into a form,
Mhm.
right? Like mark them late, fill them out the form, or you can form relationships.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have to turn a kid into a form a relationship, and maybe that's how you get that kid and win them over. Goodness gracious.
No
So
doubt.
speaking of supportive cultures, right? So you are famous for lots of different things. Much of your message is about supportive school culture. All right. So we're going to get to the brass tacks of this now. What are the key daily actions that school leaders need to take to foster that kind of supportive school culture? What would you say? And then we'll get to the other side of that question.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, you just mentioned really what's at the heart of that, and that's relationships. That if you really want people to feel support, if you want people to feel like they're in a learning culture and not a teaching culture,
Oh.
a culture where they have the freedom to be creative, where they have the freedom to take risks, where they have the freedom to fail and struggle, knowing that they'll learn from those failures and struggles,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to build those strong, positive relationships. The issue is, do you have the trust of those people? Because trust is the engine that drives relationships. And people want relationships, but do they really want to do the work? So I'll phrase it to you like this.
Yeah.
People say school culture, we need a village. Every child needs a village. My question to educators, my question to parents, my question to those in the community is who really wants to be a villager? Who wants to form those relationships you talked about or just give out forms? Because if you're a leader who
Mm.
just walks around giving out forms, never really getting to know those people you work with, right?
Yeah.
Then you're not really building a positive and strong culture. We have to get to know these people. We have to find out, and the same thing for our young people. Get to know where they come from every day. What is it that you do? What interests you? Because when I find what interests you, I'll build my culture around that. So then you'll be knocking the door down to get in instead of knocking the door down to get out. So
Right.
leaders need to tap into their emotional intelligence, be aware of the feelings and understanding their own people, but they also need to be connected. So you can't
Yeah.
be one of the things I remember early on in my career is I had a young teacher wrote me a note, and she said, "Thank you for always being visible." She said, "When I was in high school, we only saw my principal in the yearbook."
Mm.
And I never let that leave me, Drew and Ann. I never let it leave me.
Yeah.
I wanted to be that person. I come up to the room. I was in the first grade teacher's room today, and she's like, I got to use the restroom. Can you? I said, the water got to you. Because I know when I was a teacher, you wanted to drink water, but it was a battle. You're looking at the water in one hand, you're looking at the
Oh
bathroom
yeah.
down the hall. You can't leave the room.
Yep.
And so I tell them, text me. You want me to come? I will cover your class. Now, caveat is when you get back, that class might be out of control when you get back.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but
But you got the other thing under control, so
there you go. So we definitely want to make sure that those people see us as one of them. So those relationships are important. That trust is important. And then I think we as leaders, we bring joy into our buildings.
Mm.
People got, no matter how, you ask me like, what's my go-to food in those tough times?
Yeah.
We've got to have something that just helps us to kind of get through those tough days and tough moments. Although, listen, I'm not saying the job's not stressful.
Right.
What I'm saying, there are things we can do to help us deal with the stress. So one thing I try to do is 3, 4 days a week, I get up and I run, bike a few miles. I'm lifting some weights.
Yep.
I'm trying to eat better now. The cheesesteaks don't help it. I gotta be more honor roll and not the hoagie roll. So that's what I tell my kids in school. Now, listen, come on, I need you on the honor roll, not the hoagie roll. But so I try to. So the stress of the job is very
Yeah.
difficult, and so as leaders, we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves because as you know, I mean, it's a cliche, but you can't pour from an empty vessel,
No.
from empty cups. We got to take care of ourselves, but also what I think is very important is making sure that people know that you're human,
Hmm.
that I'm a learner. I'm learning just like you. The impact of an educator is not based on our ability to teach, not solely on our ability to teach, but rather our ability to learn
Yep.
and be curious. We have to be learners. We have to embrace that role and encourage our own staff members to embrace that role as well. When we come together in PD, when we come together and we're doing book studies, whatever it is, no one's an expert.
Right.
We're all learning from one another. And I think that's what keeps us sharp and that's what keeps us unified. Friday, I took my staff to the beach.
Oh wow.
One day, let's go to the beach. PD, it was, statewide PD day. Let's go. Let's do some team building. Let's get to know one another. We
Right.
work for years with people and don't even know their first name, don't know their
Mm.
children, don't know. let's just get to know one another. Let's break bread. Let's have lunch. Then we had a tug of war.
Right.
And for the second time, a couple years ago, we went to a park in the summer and had a leadership, just a bonding day.
Yeah.
The ladies defeated us in tug of war again. I don't know what it is, Drew, but these
Too many hoagie rolls.
I got all these strong guys. And you should have seen the people out there lined up on the boardwalk watching us in this tug of
Oh
war,
my gosh.
rooting for the ladies, rooting for the men, all these strangers.
Yeah.
And but it was such a powerful day for us to
That
come
is.
together. And I think that's what's important for us as leaders is we have to keep it real and let people know that, hey, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes.
Right.
I'm human, and I love and I need support just as you do, and I need to support you.
Yeah.
I want you to be successful, but I want you to understand that when you're not, I'm still going to have your back.
There you go.
And I think those are the leaders that people come back to year
Yeah.
after year after year, because they
Right.
know it's not about me getting it right all the time. It's how did I respond when I didn't get it right? And then how much did you support me,
Yeah.
when that happens. So that's how we build those supportive cultures. Bring the joy to school.
Right.
Be flexible. With flexibility comes longevity, but also be the person who wants to form that relationship. And most importantly, be the villager. If you want a village, you be the one that creates that culture of belonging,
Right.
that uniqueness that makes every person feel proud to say, I'm a member. If you're at Heritage Middle School, no matter where you are,
Yes.
right? No matter where you are, be proud to be there,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
you get to go anywhere, but you chose to stay here for a reason.
There you go. Oh my gosh. I'm going to rewind that just a little bit, if you don't mind, just to make sure I got it all. Cause it's like you put like 10 pounds of awesome in a 5-pound sack. So I got to make sure I get like, you need freedom to be creative in a school, to take risks. Trust is the engine that drives it. Of course, you got to be a villager, because oftentimes, sometimes we see like administrators who maybe aren't a part of the village. They pop
Mhm.
in every once in a while, like, and oh, how's the village today? Oh, how are
Right.
that kind of thing. So we can't have that, and you got to know the people, not say no to the people. Maybe
Ooh.
there
Oh,
you go.
you put a little hip hop on that.
There you go.
You gotta
Thank you.
know the people, not say no. I might have to steal that, Drew.
Go ahead. Go
I'll
ahead.
give you I'll
Go
give you
take it.
credit. I'll give you credit.
Listen,
I like that.
I'm embracing that role, and not just the hoagie role.
Yeah.
So and the joy. I appreciate you bringing back the joy, because so much of what happens in a school can be hard. Like you said, the gravity of the work can be overwhelming at times, and can make it feel very heavy. When you get those
Yes.
concerns from the community, or parent emails or phone calls, and you see the scores, and you have the all the challenge of that. So thank you for the joy part of it too. It makes me think of that expression of Maslow
Mm-hmm.
before Bloom and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think that we think about that in the reference of students, but sometimes Maslow for the teachers that we serve. I don't know. What do you think about that?
And were you gonna say something, man?
I was, but I didn't. I'm not going to answer Drew's question.
No,
Okay.
mine wasn't really a question. I just kind of started. I ran out of words somehow. I just kept on going.
Well, but I'll tell you this though, Drew. What I'm thinking about, as you're talking, is that joy. You're right. It's because, see, when you bring that joy, the folks are open to becoming resilient, right?
Mhm.
And when you have joy and resilience in the school, then learning will take place. And rigor and joy can exist in the same location.
Yes.
You got to have the joy mixed in there with it.
Right.
And I'm sitting there thinking, you talking about the power of joy. Think about the people who are listening to this podcast right now. If they had a rough day and they turn on, or maybe they're on the way to a school that's a struggle for them, and they
That's
turn
it.
on this podcast, say, I'm going to listen to Drew and Ann, and they're on with Principal L, and I just need to laugh right now. I don't need to.
Hmm.
I don't need to hear about how the reading scores are down across America. I don't need to hear about all these. I just need to hear about what I need to do to make it through the day, and what I need to do to help my staff.
Right.
What can I go and tell my principal to help me become a better teacher, and I can have fun while I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
So that's the joy is there and is needed. I don't think we have enough of it. I think we need to get it back into our schools.
Hmm.
We need to get it back into our communities. And I think that this is how it happens. If we put the joy in the podcast, then I think we can get the joy back into the community but it's got to start right here in our communication.
Yeah.
And I'm just honored to be here.
Well, and my kind of follow up for that is one of the things that you didn't say the word, but authenticity. You
Hmm.
know,
Mm.
be human, be yourself. And as a principal, there are sometimes you have bad days, right?
Yes.
So it just is, right?
Yeah.
So talk to our listeners of bringing the joy. I absolutely believe it, especially as a middle school principal. If you couldn't laugh at the things that were going on and find joy in that, you would be
Woo.
miserable.
Right.
So how do leaders, when they're having that tough day, how do they dig in to find the joy? Like what is your go-to strategy for our listeners? Because you present with a whole lot of joy.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm gonna tell you something, and and I have some keys to that. Now, Drew, you mentioned earlier the attitude of gratitude. You a seven mindset school or no?
It's around there. We're not, the
Okay.
whole school isn't in
Okay.
it, but like there are pockets of it.
Yeah, because that's definitely one of the mindsets, and it's very important. But and I'm gonna tell you what I do when I need to kind of refocus, recenter. I'll go sit in that cafeteria, and I'll go sit at a table with some kids, and I'll just talk to kids in the cafeteria,
Yeah.
and not about mathematics, not about solving polynomials or multiplying fractions. I'm just sitting there saying, "How was your weekend?"
Yep.
I sat with some kids today, and the kids said, "My weekend was great, but I'd love if you could give me a 10-day weekend." I said, "Well, listen, help me to understand what a 10-day weekend is, and I'm gonna give it to you because I damn sure would be glad to have a 10 days off." They said, "Can we get a 10-day weekend?" I said, "10-day?" And then I forgot about my
Yep.
staff members that were absent. We got a lot of people been sick lately,
Yep.
and all the other things that are going on in the world. And I'm just sitting there with these children. They just come to school, and they just want some adult to look at them and say, "You can be me because I was once you."
Mm.
That's all they want is just they just want some adult, and I tell them, it doesn't matter what you said, do to me. I loved you before I ever met you.
Yep.
So you can't do anything to change
Right.
my perception of you. I just sit in the lunchroom. I keep chess boards in the lunchroom, so I play chess with, some of the kids. And, we may talk about chess now. We may have to schedule another podcast there because chess is near and dear. It's near and dear to my heart, you guys. If you read anything about me,
Yeah.
chess really matters to me. And so I'm sitting there and I'll play a little chess with kids. And then also what I like to do too to kind of read is I'll visit some classrooms, which becomes a challenge for leaders.
Yeah.
But I go and visit some classrooms and just really see the power and love of the teacher-student relationship,
Yeah.
the challenge, the struggle, just the fun, the joy, with getting to see those teachers in there just mastering their craft, and
Yeah.
the children challenging them to get them to believe that no, you haven't mastered it yet. And it's a tug of war, but it's just so great to be in that element and understand this is why I made that decision 39 years ago, that I this was my
Yeah.
calling, that there's no greater place than to be in a school building and and being a principal, being an assistant principal is a tough
Yeah.
job. There's nowhere else you go where people just call your name, call your name, call your name. You have the answer to everything. So there was some research out years ago that said that the average school principal, 75 times a day, they're asked, "Do you have a
Oh
minute?"
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And my secretary said, "I'm good for 25 of those." But so it's such a tough and demanding job, but it's also one where you truly get a chance to see you are making an impact.
Yeah.
Choosing impact over compliance.
Yes.
I think that's truly the key, really, to being a successful, effective, fearless, creative, resilient, proactive, and powerful leader is choosing that impact.
Hmm.
Is just saying to yourself and to others that I'm going to lead in a way where you will be proud of me. And even if I'm wrong, like Ann talked about, being authentic,
Right.
being real, and saying, "Hey, listen, I'm not going to get it right, and if I don't get it right, hey, I'm sorry, but I was trying to do my best and do right by you."
Right.
But the key is, again, just keeping in focus that we've got to find a way to get that joy. If it's in the lunchroom, if it's in the classroom, maybe, hey, connecting on social media like Ann and I did,
Yeah.
finding folks on social media you connect with, like-minded people doing the same work, about the same things, and learning from them. We formed some great partnerships, on social media with some people. So it's a blessing to be in this work, but an even greater blessing to be in it with great soldiers like you
Oh my
guys.
goodness. Yeah, I mean that authenticity. First of all, you've got such authenticity in just your voice itself, Principal L. But I could tell that that's like the cheese on the cheesesteak. Like it can't be the fake. It can't be the fake
Well,
cheese whiz. It
you you
cannot.
you
It's got to be the
you
real.
brought it back to the
You
cheesesteak 30 minutes later, huh? Look at you,
listen,
bro.
you can't because you could listen, you could have like the perfect school culture. You could have all the policies and practices all set up. You could, be all that kind of stuff. But if you slap some fake cheese whiz on all that hard work,
Right.
kids are going to see that it's fake. Teachers and staff are going to feel that it's not genuine. So that's why you got to bring the real thing. And I love that, and I love the impact, choosing impact over compliance. And like go somewhere. Like for me, it's about widening your aperture too, right? Like so,
Hmm.
sometimes we get very narrow. We go to the same places, the same days, and that kind of stuff. Explore different hallways. Go listen to learning somewhere else that you don't normally go. That's how you realize that is my cheese fake or is my cheese real? Let me go somewhere else and see what authentic learning and teaching and leading really looks like.
My assistant principal is going to love this podcast because we started a scavenger hunt today. Today was the
Ah,
first day where our teachers have to go visit teachers not on their team. We got to
yep,
visit classrooms, hallways. You're in first grade, go up to seven. I'm in a KE building. You
yep,
know you gotta go and visit. Learn from somebody you don't normally learn from.
yep,
Get out of your comfort zone.
yep.
The problem with getting out of that comfort zone is you got to go into the learning zone to get out of your comfort zone, and the
Hmm.
learning zone is close to the frustration zone. So
Yep.
oftentimes people avoid it. But y'all tell folks you can't grow and complain at the same time.
There you go.
So if we're really going to grow, you got to, like you say, get in that hallway you don't get into often. Get
Right.
in those classrooms, learn from others. So it's so true. Find
Yeah.
find that joy, find that learning in them some uncomfortable places.
Yeah, no, we're running parallel lives here. We just every month at my school we do a monthly triathlon, and so it's a
Mm,
try, but it's
right.
three events, just three events. So it's try and try. So like one of the events every month is go to a different hallway, or pop into an art class, or go say hi to custodial staff in the night shift because you see them during the day, but you don't visit the night shift. Just those things. We ask kids to do different things all day long, 8 periods a
Right.
day. So yes, teaching and learning is hard. So, but let's lead with your feet, go somewhere different, try something else. Oh my gosh.
I love
Um,
it.
and
Love
listen,
it.
I know you said that we have to have a whole other podcast about the intersection of chess and school improvement, but in one sentence, if you could, because I am so intrigued by the chess part of things. In one sentence, how does chess and school improvement? How do those two worlds come together?
So I'll tell you real quick. You said one sentence, man. That's like giving
I'm not sure he can do one
Okay,
that's
sentence.
like
okay, okay.
He's
that's
trying to
like giving a
define
whale a
together.
tic tac. But I'll try. Chess teaches critical thinking, and I think we wait too late to teach critical thinking in our schools.
Mm,
85% of the brain is developed before kids even walk into school. By the time they're kindergarten, first grade, like most of their brains develop. So we can't wait until in high school to teach them how to critically think, judgment, problem solving. So chess teaches that early, and I teach students to play chess kindergarten, first, second, third grade. And so if we're going to improve schools, we've got to, especially in this age of the digital age, with
yeah.
everything's computerized, kids still have to make good decisions with those devices. So
Yep.
chess is a great tool. It teaches patience, self-regulation. And my girls, like once they start learning the game, they just took over the program. Like my guys, these girls, our state chess champion. I had one girl beat every boy in the state. Just then Arnold
Wow.
Schwarzenegger came to visit our school one year, and she beat Arnold in chess. Now
Oh
Arnold wrote the
man.
forward in my first book and talked about Denise beating him in this chess match. He said, "I never knew chess could be used as a weapon for the mind. He said, I always use it to keep people alert on the movie set. But
Right.
it's a powerful tool for critical. I tell people it's the great equalizer.
Yeah.
I started teaching special education students mathematics on the chessboard.
Wow.
And they started playing chess, walking around. If you don't think anything else about a kid who carries a chessboard, you believe that they're what? Smart, intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I learned smart is not something you are, it is something you can become. Right?
Ah.
And so these kids are playing chess, and students are like, you play chess, aren't you in the learning disabled program? They say, yes, let's play a match and see if you should be my roommate, right? It humbles you, right? These kids are beating me, and then all the kids wanted to play, and then they went on to become, national champions.
Yeah.
And these kids are grad Temple Law School, UVA engineering. These all inner city kids, Cornell pre-med. Like, these are all kids from struggling communities, but through chess. And chess doesn't make you smart. What it does is smart kids who play chess can become smart through playing. But it's the struggle, because everybody who learns, they get beat right away
Yeah.
because you're not good. And so it's also a great way to teach resilience. Building resilient children is not about teaching them how to be successful. It's about teaching them how to respond when they're not successful.
Right.
So that's my take on
Oh
chess
my
and school
gosh.
improvement. Teach critical thinking, teach problem solving, teach it early, and also teach students to understand that they won't be successful all the time. If they can look up, they can get up, right? You don't water the flowers on the mountaintop. You got to come down and back. So you brought it back to the cheesesteak.
Oh.
I brought it back to watering the flowers. That you don't water the flowers up top. You got to come down in the valley
Oh my.
if you want to water these
Oh
flowers.
my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I got to pause and process all of this. It's like I got the cheese and the cheesesteaks and the water and the flowers and
Yes.
oh my gosh. We're definitely, you know what? We're definitely not playing checkers. I'm telling you. No,
No, not at all. Not
school
at
improvement
all.
is about chess and bringing the energy and bringing the real, which you definitely did today. Oh my gosh. Principal L, I don't know that we can thank you enough, honestly. I mean, Dr. Ann, what do you think?
No.
You brought your sharp leadership acumen and true cheese to the Fearless Schools podcast. Our listening audience was wide-eyed and looking hopefully at the landscape of pedagogy for a sensational oasis of inspiration, information, and insight, and they found it thanks to you, Principal L. Oh my gosh, Fearless Schools.
Well, they need to thank Dr. Ann too, because she was the one
Yes.
that reached out to me and said, Principal L, I need you on the podcast. And you know me, I don't pay off the layoff. It takes me a little while to kind of, it takes me, I'm slow Joe from the Pocono that don't know. So it took me a minute to get back to her. But listen, persistence overcomes resistance. She came, she said, Principal, well, I need you on the podcast. And we got the date set. We made it happen. And I want to thank her for having that vision and a plan for getting it done. A vision without a plan is a hallucination. This is what I tell principals I work with. It's good to see it, but we have to know how are we going to execute that. And
that's just checkers.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
right?
definitely.
We're playing chess on the podcast.
Yeah, yes,
Oh
it
my
is.
gosh.
So I want to thank you guys for bringing me on and understanding what was needed. What this is needed out here in the world.
Mhm.
Principals, we need to be serious about this work. We need to be serious, but we also need to be funny, right? We need joy. He said the opposite of funny is not serious. The opposite of funny is not funny. So we need to. So, and as leaders, I saw some research that said 30 to 40% of current principals said in 5 years they will not be principals anymore. They're giving up the job. We have principals now that are leaving the profession and going back into the classroom because they don't find the joy in the work. And they have to because they're going to find some nuggets from this podcast today.
Oh yeah.
But they're also going to have a chance to smile.
That's true.
And may walk into their school the next day and say to their staff or their colleagues, whoever, listen, I can do this work. I can do it. So I want to thank you guys for the great work that you're doing.
Oh my gosh, Principal L, I'm so honored and happy that we have this podcast in the Fearless Schools podcast catalog. This is gonna glow amongst all the other ones, this is the one to see. So thank you so much for once again for being on the podcast. Creativeleadership.net is where everyone needs to go. Subscribe to it, check out the podcast, share it with everybody that you know, friends, foes, protagonists, antagonists, veteran educators, new educators, medium educators, tall educators, small educators, wherever, whoever. I'm Dr. Drew Tomlin, host of your Fearless Schools podcast, wishing you well and saying stay fearless on the bright road ahead. Thank you once again, Principal L and Dr. Ann.
Thank you.